Thank you. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. I've done a startup on the video recording, so hopefully that everything works okay. So Jacques says yes. Dave says yes. Okay. So, well, it's too bad that Norman is not able to be with us. And thank you very much again, Richard, for your news, which is vitally important for our spiritual status, because we know that, and we should always remind ourselves the fact that every time that we hear the news, we're watching, and that hopefully that our prayers follow up. This is the 13th day of the 10th month of the 33rd year of the 120th Jubilee. It's a Sabbath day. This is a speech that hopefully everyone received via email. The paper itself is just a draft type of thing so that I can gather my speech from, but to show you where I've got the things from, and also there are some things that probably I'm going to be to say as an aside, some comments. So let's start. Yes, total control, you say. Do they own all the earth? Whoever says that they own the earth, those that say that they are in control of, to an extent and to an aspect of being able to manipulate the creation, part of it at least. Did they created the earth? The one owning all the earth, he is in control. I'd like to read some verses of scriptures beforehand here. Exodus 19:5. In Exodus 19:5, and now if ye will indeed hear my voice, and keep my covenant, you shall be to me a peculiar people above all nations, for the whole earth is mine. So we know that these words were given and spoken to physical Israel back days of old, when Jehovah had gathered together from out of nations to create a peculiar nation called Israel. And they were to be a peculiar people, and that by paying heed to his voice, paying heed to his commandments and whatever he said. And it was a contractual aspect of this agreement. But they broke it, and sadly enough today also, they're still in the breach. But here we see that from times of old, it is declared that the earth is Jehovah's. Let's go to Job 41 and verse 2. And Job 41 and verse 2. Or who will resist me, and obviously this is Jehovah speaking, and abide? So who can resist and abide at the same time? Well, since the whole world under heaven is mine. So here we see that there are those that do resist and they won't abide, obviously. Since the whole earth, the whole world under the heaven, and that encompasses a wide spectrum, doesn't it? And he says, that's all mine. Psalm 50 and verse 12. Psalm 50 and verse 12. If I were hungry, now he's supposing here, he's reasoning with his creation, he's reasoning with mankind. If I were hungry, I would not even tell you, for the world is mine. I think it's a big emphasis that he's telling mankind, and the fullness thereof. So who's in control? I guess that would be answered. Let's go to Isaiah 66:1. Isaiah 66:1. Thus saith the Lord, or Jehovah, in heaven is my throne. So now we know that heaven itself is the throne. It's not so much, how can we put it, a little physical area, which heaven is this talking about. Heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. So, does Father Jehovah has a footstool in heaven where he puts his foot on? Ludicrous. But he does have a footstool, and that footstool is the earth, and mankind need to get that into their heads. What kind of a house will you build me? Asking the question. And what kind is to be the place of my rest? For all these things are mine, says Jehovah. And to whom will I have respect? Ah, doesn't he have respect? Yes, he does. But to the humble and meek, because this is what we need to become to enter into the kingdom of Jehovah, or of heaven, and the man that trembles at my words, plural. There are a lot of his words in this earthly sphere. Obviously, we don't have everything that was spoken of. We don't have all the recording or the documented documents of Jehovah's word in the earth throughout the land. There are some that are there that were destroyed. There are some that are there, and I believe personally that there are some people that withhold a lot of this word of Jehovah being manifested openly. We know that libraries were destroyed that contained a lot of Jehovah's wondrous work and sayings. And the ultimate adversary has made every effort in his power to subdue that. So I say shame on him. These people that say that they have total control or are able to manipulate aspects of Jehovah's creation, they have no trembling thoughts. Their mind is totally seared. And some of them are willfully deceived. They allow themselves to be deceived. They allow themselves to go astray. They just don't tremble. They just don't have any awe. And they certainly do not have any reverence for Jehovah and do not respect his creation. Never mind worshiping. It's respect for somebody else's property. These people just don't realize that some of them who are in authority and in power were entrusted, if so be that they are entrusted with a position to maintain and to keep it and to tell it, but they just don't respect the creation at all, and they do according to their own devices or their own invention, like Solomon portrays it. Let's go to Ezekiel 29:9. Ezekiel 29:9. And the land of Egypt shall be ruined and desert, and they shall know that I am Jehovah, because you said, the rivers are mine, and I made them. Now who would want to dare to make a bold statement as such, and yet it was done. It was done by many of Jehovah's creation that professed themselves to be the creator of the rivers, and even Egypt thought that he would put himself into a position of creating the Nile and being able to subdue it and manipulate it, control it to the extent that either it would bring flooding or whether it would dry it out, or he could. Yes, mankind can manipulate things. Yes, mankind was giving power so that he could, to a limited aspect, control and preserve and be able to use part of the creation for making sure that this earth is in accord to beneficial sense speaking, but they've gone way beyond the boundaries of tilling and keeping the earth. They've gone to the point where they're saying they control it and that they are the inventors of it. That's because they have an evolutionist mind. They set aside Jehovah and his creative ability and want to tap into the main source of what makes this earth base tick, or the foundations of the earth tick. Haggai 2:7. Haggai 2:7. For thus saith Jehovah Almighty,